Hey everybody, so I'm back, and this is what I came back for. I want to start the new year in a positive, right? In a positive way. So I want us to start out with seeking in Thanksgiving. So let's just do something a little bit different. Stop and think now that this time of day. Do a recap of 2024. And in your recap, do what I call moments with God that you may not have noticed, or that you may have noticed and you let pass, or that you may have noticed and you didn't spend enough time in there, or that you notice and you was always going to the next, because we have a tendency to do that, right? We have a tendency to find a blessing, not find a blessing, but receive a blessing. And then when we get the blessing, we have the tendency to look ahead to the next blessing, because so many times the blessing that we are receiving or we've received is not the fullness of the blessing. So we have, our minds are always set to get to the next portion of the fullness of the blessing that we are looking for. So you may be praying real big for something. Maybe you need something really, really big in your life, like I do. I need something huge to happen in my life. And so what I tend to do is, what I'm learning to do more of, I should say, is to give God the ultimate thanks in the little that is adding up to the big. It may not be adding up, but it's actually pieces of it is being added to me. And so therefore it provides me the opportunity to give him thanks in each of those pieces, because the Bible says that you come into his courts with thanksgiving and praise. So let's do that. Let's come into we're already here in 2025, the first day. So you do have a little bit time left, and it's okay if you get this tomorrow, or if you don't see this until the end of the week. It's okay. We're not going to worry about when you see it. But what I want you to do is I want you to take it and I want you to implement it. Meaning, as soon as you have the opportunity, when you see this, that you immediately stop right there and get paper and pen and write down all of the moments that you can remember that was God moments that impacted you in some way, that were little, you didn't realize that they were a blessing, or that you just went past it without really fostering that blessing. And let's give God some extra thanks today, in regards to when you see this, so that we are doing that daily. It's a great thing. I have a coach that tells me in the morning, do a gratitude journal. And what a great way to start your day, because you're putting all above, you are putting the gratefulness. I have a friend that if I come to her with the issue, like the issue I have at hand right now, which at some point you will hear about, that I come to her in a way that is focusing only on that. And not that I'm not grateful, not that she doesn't know that I have an attitude of gratefulness, but she encourages me to speak the gratefulness out, to give God back the blessings from my words aloud, and not just hold them inside. I am very watchful of what I say, because the Bible also says that with the power of the tongue. So it's bad enough that we allow our thoughts to roam, but when we speak them out, that's where the power is. So I am like working and always looking forward to the ability to watch what I say, It's very critical that we do that because that's the power of the tongue. And it's amazing because we can speak life and death and just what we say. And I know that that's kind of like mind blowing to people. People are probably like, that's not the truth. It is, because you have to remember that God spoke this world into existence, right? Which means He is all powerful. He is all knowing. And if He spoke it and created us in His image, then we have that same power to do so, to speak it out. I don't know how many of you know the story of Moses, but remember, if you do, he spoke to a rock that gushed out water. And he spoke to a sea with his staff that parted the waters. And so we do have a lot of power in our tongue, and it can cause disasters. And even if you're speaking positive and you don't see positive changes, that doesn't mean that you go back to doing the opposite. Because positive, even though the light takes over the darkness, many times the power of the positive will also not show up as quickly, because the deception would be, why are you thinking positive? Why did you think about that like that? See, it's not happening. That's all a ploy. And so you have to be careful. The main thing is to keep yourself in that positive, no matter how long it takes for you to actually see it. That's another thing. And the Bible says we walk by faith and not by sight, which means that even when we don't see it, that doesn't mean that it's not happening. And the thing is, that's when we get to the falsehood of not realizing it's in the little things that things are happening that we are overlooking, because we're looking for the bigger things and we think it's not happening. We think that our positivity is not actually manifesting anything for us, when actually it is. We are just not mechanically in our minds. We don't develop that. We develop to see the negative aspect of things first. So they actually come out quicker. And we see them quickly because we are paying attention to our situation, which may be so negative, right? It's the reality that we are sitting in. So therefore, we will more than often bring that to the table first, which we are then smothering out all the good things that we are expecting and waiting for, that are actually there, that we can't see. We have to intentionally bring it out in the light, because the light will take over and cover up the darkness if we let it. So let's do that. So anyone who is on here, remember to subscribe. But anyone who is on here that today, started it today, if you don't get back and get on it until next week or whenever you see this, start it as soon as you do. And let's start this journey in this 2025 on a positive look back on all the blessings, all the moments with God that 2024 actually brought into our lives. No matter how challenging it was, and believe me, mine was challenging, and I've drug it all into, these challenges are all been actually drugged into 2025. But here I stand, and I know that they will resolve. And we'll talk more about that next time. I'll be back with a schedule so that everyone can actually hop on and be able to receive what your heart is leading you to receive. I hope it's everything. I hope everything that I mentioned is something that you want to know more about, something you want to grasp more about. I would love for you to be on them all. Until the next time, you have a great rest of your evening, and we'll chat it out in the middle very soon with more about a schedule where you can see chatted out in the middle. Have a good evening.